So we decided to do a little demonstration, because if Chris Watts said he went downstairs for a moment and then came back upstairs to the master bedroom and witnessed his baby Bella sprawled out in blue on the bed, we wanted to know how difficult that might be. So I want you to look, if you will, at the size of the baby monitor. The camera that's pointing at me and this baby monitor right here, which is smaller than an iPhone 7, camera's about 10 to 15 feet away. So you are now looking at the baby monitor 10 to 15 feet across the bedroom, the master bedroom, where Chris Watts says he witnessed his daughter Bella blue. Can you tell? Now you're about 5 feet away. Now you're about 4, 3. Now you're getting right up close and personal. Your face is about 2 to 3 feet away from our producer, Bernice, who's in that monitor. Now, the lights are on in the room where Bernice is waving to you, and so it's bright color. It's as bright color as you're going to see. On the right-hand side is the baby monitor image of one of their children. The lights look to be low, but you can see the face of that baby. And you are about a foot away from the screen looking at the actual baby, because the monitor is so small, you'd have to be that close for it to appear that big. Now look at Bernice's coloring. She's wearing a blue shirt. You can definitely see her blue shirt, but can you tell the color of her face with the lights on? This is 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, Chris says. So perhaps the lights were on, but maybe more likely they were off. So let's turn the lights off and see if that changes anything in the color of Bernice's face. It will be critical. It will be critical to Chris's argument as to whether he could tell little Bella was blue. Because right now, even her blue shirt looks the same color as her pants, as the wall, as everything else. And her face, which, by the way, look to the right, is the same circumference as the little baby's face in the monitor. Well, I don't know about you, but I sure can't tell at all if that face is pink or blue or bright purple or green or any other color for that matter. So very critical to get Troy Slayton in on this. As a defense attorney, how do you overcome something like these images? Because you just know that in any prosecution, they're going to do the exact same thing I just did.
Well, it strains credulity, and certainly the jury is going to be asked to apply their common sense, to apply everything that they know about the world, and if the defense attorneys ask the jury to believe something that is clearly not true, then it's gonna remove all credibility that the defense attorneys have, and that's going to be added to the prosecution's argument that everything that Chris has said up to this point has been a lie.
My feeling is that this is something that is critical for Chris Watts, because as I just said, cases can be won or lost based on cause of death not being determined. Do you see this as a potential in this case?
I see that the autopsy results certainly would have been made available to the prosecution so that they could determine the charges that they would issue to Mr. Watts. And so for some reason, the prosecution is holding some of this information back and has not been made public.
I'll tell you what, Kenya, I will go on record right now as to having had a conversation with the DA's office today. A long, over an hour conversation with the DA's office. They are very good at their jobs. They are telling me very little in an hour-long conversation, but they did tell me this. The ME has not sent that over to them yet. They are not in possession of that actual autopsy result. They don't know it. But well, so I found that amazing.
That should be amazing, because that means that the prosecution doesn't have all the information, but they're proceeding forward with charges. And so we'd have to take a look and see what evidence is currently available to support the charges that he has now, and then what additional charges may come out once the autopsy results come out, because there could be more.
And Joe Morgan, you want to jump in on this with cause of death being critical. I think you would know very well the conditions of these bodies and whether it is going to be possible to determine cause of death here.
Yeah, I truly believe that it would be, Ash, particularly if you're talking about manual or ligature strangulation. It would be rather obvious, I would think. Keep in mind, I was a senior investigator with the ME in Atlanta, and before that I worked at the Jefferson Parish Coroner's Office in New Orleans, so I'm kind of familiar with this territory. Many times, the medical legal authorities will hold off releasing information because they're coordinating with the police many times. Keep in mind, the ME is in charge of the body. And they will state a cause of death sooner or later, but this is an ongoing homicide case. And many times the police will just simply ask, will you please lay back, hold off? We're going to wait for all of the testing to come in. So, yeah, they might still be waiting on tox. They might be waiting on histology. That is the study of the tissues. But, yeah, it would seem that they could have offered up at least a preliminary cause of death.
Okay, I want to bring in Ari Zoldan. He's a technology analyst and chairman of Quantum Media Group. And Ari, your expertise is key here because all of these forensic pieces of the puzzle will be critical, but so will the technical forensics, like Chris Watts' cell phone, Shannan Watts' cell phone. There's been myriad reports about Chris Watts having extramarital affairs. People magazine has an inside source saying that he had many different lovers, both men and women. We ourselves have interviewed someone of this ilk. And so his phone has got to be a goldmine. Do you see it as presenting a problem at any point in terms of finding dating apps that maybe have been erased or text messages that maybe have been erased? Can you find all the caches of this stuff?
Ashley, I think 98% of the stuff is going to be there, either in the hardware or the software. And when I'm talking about software, I'm talking about your phone over here, Ashley, is living and breathing, right? And it's constantly communicating with the cell networks. And that cell network holds back the information. So it could tell you the location, it could tell you
so
the perimeter. So
if he held his phone as he was on his way allegedly to the place where he dumped the bodies, if he stopped off along the way and dispensed of any evidence, there'll be a nice little digital map.
There are some breadcrumbs there. And again, it's not an exact science because it's a relatively complicated ecosystem, but there's data there.
Let's start in February. That was the month that she went to Vegas. She went with Chris and seemed to be completely happy. Nothing wrong in February. In March, when there were 6 videos, they seemed to be pretty good videos. In fact, here she is posting a video with little Cece playing with her dad's hair.
No, honey, do Daddy's.
Daddy's the guinea pig today, okay? Oh my gosh, Cece. Oh my gosh.
Mommy, help me. You do it.
You do it.
You got it.
You got it, see? Just don't go through my skull. She's shaking.
Here you go.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Everything seems fine in that family. In April, the video shot up to 18. This was a really big month for Shannan. She was featured in her company magazine. Her career seemed to be fantastic. She even went to New Orleans on a business trip. There she is showing herself in this incredible feature. Her team was even honored in New Orleans. She went to New Orleans, however, without Chris. But it didn't seem to matter, because the next month, her video shot up to 18, and it was a big month for her and Chris together. It was Chris's birthday, and on May 16th, this is what she wrote in her social media. The girls want to wish you a happy birthday. They have the best daddy in the world. You do so much every day for all of us, and you come home and play and read to them. They love you so much. In June, 14 videos. June is the time that Shannan decides it's time to tell Chris they're expecting. And no one will forget this video that shows she's so happy to put together. She just wants him to be surprised. Watch.
We did it. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is gonna be girls.
I don't know.
Guess when you want to, it happens.
Wow. That was June the 11th. On June the 22nd through till the 26th, Shannan got another one of those amazing trips from work. This time it was San Diego, a reward trip, and she took Chris this time. And the pictures showed a couple that seemed to be nothing more than in love. Seriously in love. Here they are in the hotel in San Diego, posting a little bit about how it's going.
We're here in San Diego. I have no idea what we're gonna do today. We might hit the pool up when it gets warmer. Hopefully it clears up today like everyone says it does. And we can go. You guys, he's helping me get the bag situated real quick.
What up? What's going on?
What's going on, he says, but you saw him, didn't you? You saw Chris in the background there in San Diego in the hotel room. That was the last time you would ever see Chris in her Facebook videos again. And again, this is just June 22 through 26. That's the last flash of video of Chris. A couple more photographs where he's featured in the backdrop, but no more videos of Chris being posted after that. They get back from San Diego on the 26th, and 8 hours later, Shannan is already packing for that summer trip with the kids to North Carolina, where she's going to spend 6 weeks with her family, and he's going to come for the last week of it. But what happens 4 days after she gets there to North Carolina? 4 days after she's there with her kids and her family, enjoying her time and presumably missing her husband, right? This is what she posts on June 30th. Chris is living the bachelor life. Ate T-bones for dinner the last 3 nights and bought shrimp with the shrimp emoji and goodies. He's sleeping in and working out. Can I remind you, this is June 30th. And the arrest affidavit suggested he was actively involved with someone from work, who a police source tells us was a woman at work, who a police source tells us admitted, that woman at work admitted she was in that affair with Chris Watts. And People magazine source says she is helping them and that she's not considered part of this in any other way, criminally speaking. In July, the videos drop precipitously. As I showed you before, only 5 for a woman who's on vacation with her kids and her family, a summer vacation she'd been so excited for. She's only posting 5 videos. Not one of them has Chris, and only on Facebook is 1 picture, but no mention of him in that photo. Here's one of the videos, one of the 5. It's Cece's birthday party in North Carolina. Well, that would be the last known video ever posted on her social media. That's it. And in fact, the only thing posted after that would be a handful of photos, just about 6 or so, from a woman who posted dozens upon dozens every month. In August, 0 videos, not 1. And just think about how strange that is. Because in August, Chris finally came to join his family in North Carolina. 5 weeks they'd been without him. 5 weeks the little girls would be missing their dad. 5 weeks would go by, and when Dad was arriving in North Carolina, imagine how excited those kids would be. Imagine how excited a loving wife might be. Imagine the potential for the videos and the pictures and the Facebook posts, and there's not one. Shannan Watts was not the first pregnant woman to be murdered and buried in a shallow grave, while the man she loved most appealed to television cameras to help him find her. Just last year, we told you about Tyler Tessier. It was quite a show, as he begged us all to help him find his missing pregnant girlfriend, Laura. But he didn't fool anyone, because police suspected him and had actually arranged this press conference to watch his every move. Days later, he was charged with the first-degree murder of Laura Wallen. And today was the first day of that murder trial. But it was canceled. Because right after showering and getting dressed in his cell, he took a bed sheet and he hanged himself. They found him dead before he could even walk into court. And if you think about the parallels to Chris Watts' case, both men faced the cameras and seemed to be pointing the finger at their missing loved ones, or at least raising questions about them.
Laura, if you're listening, doesn't matter what's happened, doesn't matter what type of trouble There's nothing we can't fix together.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. But I mean, could she just taken off? I don't know.
You don't know, really? Not only that, but both Tessier and Watts are believed to have been cheating on their pregnant victims. Both women buried in shallow graves, both men out on TV lying. Well, an official at the jail where Watts is on suicide watch told us that his bedding may have been modified. While it's also worth mentioning, Tessier killed himself with that bedsheet.
Today would have been a reckoning for Mr. Tessier. Today would have been a reckoning. Because for the first time, an individual who I think showed every signs of being a psychopath. He had psychopathic behavior that he carried on as he maintained a dual relationship with two women, one for 10 years, a second for 7 years. Lying to virtually every single person in his life. To Tyler Tessier, lying was like breathing. He lied about everything.
Today's Sunday. Chris ran at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday on his day off. What'd you do, 5 miles? Well, come over. Chris has lost a significant amount of weight since you started Thrive. How much?
50 pounds.
And he's in a medium. He went from a 2X to a medium.
So does anything change when you go from big to little and all of a sudden you're able to flex your muscles for pictures and maybe get some women around you to bat their eyes? Maybe not just women. There are lots of reports of this man having an extracurricular life. So what happens inside when you change outside? Cheryl Arrett, does this tell you anything? Does this story on the outside of his body, the before and after transformation, does it tell you anything about what a man can be like on the other side?
This tells me that ego may have taken over for Chris Watts. All of a sudden, he was ripped. Women may have been looking at him. He was having financial problems with his wife, 2 kids, another one on the way. He, I think, was wanting to get out there and feel attractive and feel that excitement. And I see what Shannan was doing as a plea, saying, don't destroy this family.
And Cheryl, the grooming, look at the difference. He had a slight mustache at one point early on, and he went to a very different look completely. Not just the muscles and the weight loss, the facial hair too.
It's like a whole makeover. It's like the Queer Eye guys got him and did a makeover to make him.
Look at the difference here. Just look at your screen. It is that you would not guess this is the same man.
I am sure it changed the way women related to him, but there's an interesting study about that, about the way that women relate to married men, that married men very often overestimate their attractiveness anyway because women aren't as guarded with them because they're married. So a lot of married men are with women, interacting with women, and they're not getting shot down, and they think that they would just kill it out there if they were single, and very many men find that the opposite is the case, because once they are single, women's guards go back up and they have a very different experience. So he may have been intoxicated by the attention that he was getting from women.